Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. So, I want to go over my new strategy for Misty and my entire portfolio because the last time we spoke about it, I was still in the middle of a temper tantrum because my condo's AC unit had just failed, and that's an extra $10,000, and I was on track to pay off all my debt by June, and now that's not the case. So I find myself looking on this tab of my dividend tracker, which is just a copy of the how to retire on Misty spreadsheet that Retire and Dividends has. And this is where I was in February, but then I had started to I'm producing $1,000 a week in options, but I wasn't reinvesting it in my portfolio. I was using it to pay off my debt aggressively. So I don't think that this month I'm going to get 5,500. I'm probably going to wind up more, around in here, but I'm still ahead of where I thought I was going to be using the prediction of a 60% yield. But now that I do have this incredible debt that I just acquired, we are going to change strategies, and I'm going to try to get to like this $10,000 a month as quickly as possible. And so when you look at my silo plans, and also the $20,000 of my portfolio was actually from Ethereum that I had sold so that I could sell my condo, but then the lenders just decided that I needed to still own the condo instead of granting a mortgage to the third buyer that had tried to, well, the second or the third or the fourth buyer. So I still own the condo, and I don't want to put that Ethereum money back in Ethereum because we don't know how much crypto is going to be worth anytime. So we put it into Misty instead, which is still kind of crypto, but whatever. What I'm saying is this is experimental money that I'm okay with using as an experiment, because if Misty, if you look at the Retire on Dividends thing and you just put in random, when I was first doing this, okay, well, right now it's at 100% distribution. It's not going to continue doing 100% distribution, but it's really fun to look at and say oh, 8 years from now I could be earning $200,000 a month. And it's fun to think about, but I don't think it's very realistic, but I'm willing to find out. So when I get my Misty distributions like I did this time, we're going to take out the 25% for taxes because this is in my taxable account. And then we're going to try to sell an MSTU put, or multiples depending on how much Misty I have. And then because when I sell the put, it doesn't actually use the money, but it does increase my options collateral. So that equivalent amount will be going to TLTW. And then whatever is left over that I can't sell a put on MSTU, I will be splitting between Misty and MSTR. And I'm not sure if you all noticed this, but in Robinhood, they actually changed it this week that Misty now has a 70% margin maintenance, and so does MSTR. I had noticed on MSTR first because I actually went to go look at it, and I was like, ooh, no, because I was expecting it to be at 25%, it was at 70%. I was like, my margin buffer is not that good, so if I buy Mr., then it's really not going to help my margin buffer. But if Misty and Mist are both 70%, then if there's a really violent upswing and Misty is cap, then Mister should have a better total return. So eventually, if there's it's above the 200-day moving average, I can sell some and put it back into Misty. But for now, we'll just do 50% Misty and 50% Mister. And then if I ever get enough Mister to, sell a put on there, we'll go ahead and do that, or buy a leaps, which might be more attainable for me, but that'll be a couple of years from now, me. So, and then the MSTU premium is basically the same thing, except eventually I will be getting enough MSTU premium to sell a put on Misty, which would be really nice. But when I do that and I'm using options collateral, then that equivalent amount needs to go to TLTW, and then I'm going to invest leftover stuff in Misty and MSTR. And you might actually see it because right now I'm trying to, I will be less risky if the entire amount of my options collateral is actually in TLTW, kind of like how all of the cover call ETFs that have synthetics use treasury bills as their cash equivalent. So instead of MSTR, I'll probably do TLTW until I have a large amount, most of the most of my options collateral, actually all the options collateral, it needs to be covered. Because at this point, Robinhood is making this almost not marginable. And I would feel better if I get assigned literally all of my stuff. I can just convert it into a cash, and I'm not using any margin then. And so Robinhood can't say anything about what I prefer to use in my portfolio. So, and when I say MSTU, I'm going to have some kind of a mix with MSTZ and SMST, the inverses, but it's not going to be 50-50. But I'll let you know how that goes. Anyways, for XDTE, this will be my second silo that I get up and running. And basically, as soon as my margin buffer is fixed, I will be selling out of my XDTE and buying another SPY leaps, and then selling cover calls off of that leaps I own. But in the meantime, we're going to take 40%, 25% of that will be for taxes, and then the rest of it will go into my checking account. And then I want to invest in SPY and SPMO. And so the same thing with the SPY call options, where 40% of it will go to taxes in my checking account, and then the rest of it will go into XDT, SPY, and SPMO. And then the next silo after XDTE, so right now, I don't have 300 shares of XDTE, but I'm kind of leaning towards building up my 5e instead. But I think we'll see. I might wind up with just 300 shares of XDTE, and then I'll do my SPY options, and then when we sell this one for leaps, then it'll just be up to that silo to replenish XDTE until it has the $10,000 or less, probably, to purchase the next leaps. So right now I have $6,000 something in my XDTE. So it's kind of enough to do a SPY leaps, but it's going to not be the like furthest dated option. So I'm okay with building up my XDTE a little bit more for now. But any new funds, any of the other options that are not MSTU or SPY related, and NVIDIA will go into 5e. And then my NVIDIA will be 40% in the taxes and checking, and then it'll go into 5e and PLTW and NVIDIA and AMD and PLTR. So basically everything I want to invest in now, it's just NVIDIA is my source of everything. And this will be slow going, but I think that reinvesting in this way will be sustainable for my portfolio. I'm not under pressure to do $1,000 of options every week. And I think that was putting pressure on like the chains I was using, and I was going a little bit more aggressive than is probably in my best interests. So this way I can, it gives me room to be more conservative and just build out my portfolio in a sustainable way. But I'm also setting aside money for taxes and the next things, which there's always going to be a next thing. And so, like, for example, the things that I know about are I would like to have reliable running water. So we're on the waiting list. The waiting list, it takes about 2 years for them around here to build a new well or dig a new well. So when that's done, my parents and I were splitting the cost. So that'll be at least $10,000 for me for a new well out here. And I haven't given up on the vacation idea yet. Mostly because I still have $1,000 left over from my tax refund. And I just got $1,000 tip from YieldMite. So if I can get $1,000 between now and June, I think I'll call and see how much it is actually to board my dogs and go from there, because I do have a plan to pay off my credit card. Basically, the income from the renting unit, if nothing goes wrong, is $2,300. And so a minimum of $2,000 will be paid towards the cards, and I should be able to pay all of my debt before the 0% on each of those cards expires. So would I have liked to pay it off sooner? Sure. But I think in this way, I'll have goals in my portfolio that I'm looking forward to, and so it's less depressing. And I'm just going to have to stay employed and hope that my renter can still also stay employed. So, anyways, thank you for sticking with me with this. And I was actually using YieldMite before because it's like, I want to get $500 in distribution per month. How much money do I need? So with Ulti, to get $500 a month, I would need $7,608. But like, that's Ulti. So the next best thing, in my opinion, would probably be IWMY or YMAX. LFGY, I do like it, but I have so much Misty that I don't really need any more crypto in my portfolio. So we got that going for us, which is nice. But like XDTE, I would need $20,000 to get $500 per month, and then with $500 I could do like call spreads on the SPY, which isn't really a cheat code. in like the violent upswings like we had last week, where we had the best day the NASDAQ had ever seen, you could lose all your money. Like, that's $500 you could lose. But it is a way to get into options on the SPY if you don't quite have enough to buy a leap. And so I did the math on that, and it's like, you only have to be correct and not lose all your money, like, for 4 weeks or something like that. So, well, because you can get, like, $50 a week, so you don't have to be right 10 times. So I only made it, like, 6 out of the 10 times in November, so it's not as easy as it looks. But yeah, so I was going through all of these, but if you would just want to go through, say, like, I have $100 to invest, and then if you invested $100 into Ulti, then you would get $1.52 this week, which means that it would have been $6.57. But these are based off of the latest distributions and the declaration date. So, this might be what you might yield, but over time you can see, and if you look into the details, if you click on the name of the fund, then you can get you'll get taken directly to where their prospectus is, and you can research the fund yourself, and you can see the price action and the distribution amount. And today on Financial Philharmonics, we have I Dig Dividends, which is a groovy little tune, and I really do dig dividends, and I think that they don't get enough love. So, what do you all think? I think I might be overcomplicating it, but it's part of the process, honestly. Like, I'll think about it, I'll obsess about it, I'll go through all of the different pros and cons, and then 6 months later, I'll just go with the original idea anyways. For me right now, the biggest pain point is, now that I'm trying to actually set aside money for taxes, that it's actually making it kind of confusing to know what money I have in order to invest. But I'm just going to have to do most of my, like, the bulk of my options on Monday, and then figure out what taxes I owe, and then invest on Tuesday, and then just, like, basically figure out overnight what I owe, and then the next day until my account goes to zero. So it might not be perfect, but I was, like, on Monday I do a lot of options, so I was taking money out during the day and putting it in my spending account. But that also made it difficult, because then it's like I've taken out money for some of it, but not for others. And I usually do the bulk of my rolling over on Mondays anyway, except for the SPY leaps. So we'll come up with a simple strategy that is sustainable for me. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.